royal lion, Guillaume's kitten. This knocker will last a lifetime and then some. The leather upholstery is worn and rough against. In fact, it's oddly silent in the yard around you. No birds chirp. You try to be as silent as you can. It takes a bit of rattling of the handle to loosen the bolt. Finally, the door unlocks with a small clack. Well, buddy, you opened it. No need to go inside. Good job. Let's go now. I'm sure there's nothing interesting in there. Only curiosity could account for stepping over that threshold. Maybe there's treasure in there. As you hold the open door, you can feel the air moving. A little draft, a whistle. A row of mugs sits on the shelf. Each one depicts a human figure. A dark-skinned woman grinning amidst mysterious symbols. A broad-shouldered man shoveling potatoes, and others a little ring. Though cheerful, the images on the ceramic make you... The images betray a lack of interest in human beings. They are merely unflattering caricatures. The owner of these mugs doesn't like people of other ethnicities very much. This person is unhappy. You see a young man on a balcony nursing a cigarette.
Not looking for any trouble, officer. I don't want to be seen talking to the gendarmerie, if that's okay. I just want to finish my cigarette.
It's the god of cigarettes and youth. Ask him if he's got anything to spare.
Apologies, but this is my last one.
The god himself has denied you absolution.
I'm not sure that's a good idea. As you wish. Is it really that important?
Like a nervous cat, he keeps stealing looks at the neighboring windows.
All right, but make it quick. Once I finish this cigarette, I have to run. I can tell that you finally got him down. Thank you. It was quite a disturbing sight, even by Martinet's standards. Oh. You already asked me that, didn't you? No, not you. Some more muscular type. I couldn't tell you. We don't usually see much of the gendarmerie around here. Last week? I don't know. Look. I had a friend over. It was my Sunday friend.
A Sunday friend? How intriguing. Makes sense. Friends are nice on Sunday. You don't have to work. You can just spend time with pals, watching rugby and drinking beer. He doesn't reply, gesturing no with his cigarette. In the neighboring windows, someone hides behind a curtain. Those windows have eyes, and those eyes are watching, spying on you too.
No. Now, if you'll excuse me, I really need to get going. Good luck with the investigation.
The door is closed. This fan has 2 chain pull switches, or has it been consigned there as punishment? You feel this fan has, or has it been consigned there as punishment? You A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression. The chain cutters slip out of your hands as you attempt to twist the faucet into place. Well, you know one thing for sure. You've probably never been a plumber. The bed is still cold from the broken window, and not too... The window stands broken in its frame. Cold wind blows in. What do you mean, assess the damage? How would you do that? What are you even trying to do?
Can I help you? Got the 20 real? Then why are you wasting my...
The man ponders his cooking utensils and gives you a little nod, acknowledging your presence. He looks up at shrugging is an international sign for...
Hello, hello. Let me know if I can help you with anything. Sure, let me have a look. I'm not purchasing any more clothing at the moment. Anything else you're thinking of selling? Another time, perhaps.
A typical Martinez streetlight sits among assorted floor and table lamps.
It was brought to me to be altered.
The light's buzzing resembles the purring of the light pole has been carefully cut, and the wiring has been redone and attached to a standard indoor plug. The light buzzes faintly, but persistently.
Yes, officer. As you see, it's in perfect working order.
You see rows of toy soldiers.
The shine on these sunglasses lasts a lifetime, officer. 100% guaranteed. You keep coming back. That's good, officer. Keep browsing those clothes, keep saving that economy.
You find your...
Economical, but also...
The speakers below are banged up and worthless. A pair.
Those sneakers, mister. Those sneakers are the latest Faln sneakers. Super Air, Super... Everything's still cool here, officer.
Your race descent has only worsened since I last saw you.
you fuck off again?
How can I help you? Los Ardis? They're an independent militant group. They're sort of like you. Preserve the rule of law and all that.
Is he actually comparing you, an officer of the law, to some, the man whispers a jaunty tune?
We're negotiating our share. Aye. All of it. However, right now we want all the harbor workers to be on the company's board, so they could take part in the decision-making process. I think it's best you make up your own mind now that you've met him. In my eyes, he is a capable organizer and a decent businessman. He's probably in his container at the harbor, so head right on in there. Sure thing.
What is this? News of the world? Talk about personal stuff. Get to know him.
Call me Mañana. I'm just a humble harbor worker for the past 6-7 years. A name worthy of the man who holds it, friend. Names are important. I'd say a real name is what most people call you. Now that we are getting so well acquainted, what's your name?
Be honest with him.
Harry. It's cool, but I'm sure you could come up with something even cooler.
Your mind can only conjure up hunk handy. Fuck.
It can take time to come up with a good one, for sure.
Before you stands a cargo container, just one of many in the yard. The container door appears unmoved by your attempt at flattery. A tough nut to crack for sure, but the strongest containers often have the softest hearts. The door does not respond to your advances. Why does this situation feel so familiar? Do you have a history of propositioning? No reply. You attempt to turn the handle, to no avail. The doors seem to be mechanically locked.
Mr. Dubois, a pleasure as always. You don't have to sit down this time, since you've already sat on that chair. I'm very glad to hear that, Harry. One question. You didn't actually happen to stumble in and see...
There is no way to sway this man in any direction. He is unsuggestible and unswayable. Just tell the truth.
You're right, Harry. You only had to unlock the door, which you did. So we're all good here. Now let's get down to brass tacks. It's time for men like me and you to figure out who's killed who and why. Real police work is gonna start happening now. I promise you, Harry, this is gonna be good. By now, I'm sure you've figured out who the dead man was working for. The bad guys. Wild Pines. Sent to scare us. Another violent measure of the top hats against us flatcaps. Harry, this strike is the culmination of many, many mistakes made by the Wild Pines group. They tried to shut the strike down by sending in armed mercenaries. A security contractor? Can you imagine that? Workers standing in peaceful protest, united in the... I'm talking beasts. Hardened killers from proxy wars in Yesut, Seminine. Everything they did there, they brought over here. They want to turn Revachol into a third world slum. Honestly, the only thing they didn't do is kill the village elephant. Now, I haven't personally witnessed the brutalities out there. I have the luxury of staying in my container, you see. If I need to go somewhere... Yes, I'm an old man, Harry. My legs aren't what they used to be. They lift my office with that big crane. It's actually very fun. You should try it. But enough about me and my fun container. The killers the company hired, I think one of them got downright suicidal. Getting drunk, violent, a little rapey. Even their own negotiator couldn't control him. That's your boy. The one who likes hanging. Harry, what you need to realize is, we got grit, Harry. This whole neighborhood does. Push us hard enough and we push back. And when we do, we push to... There's a militant wing inside the Union. A group of people whose duties don't involve manual... They're like you. Idealistic people who want to make sure that bad things don't happen. And if they already have... One day Titus Hardy, leader of this peacekeeping faction, comes up to me and says... He probably worded it differently, but that was the idea. Sure sounded to me like they killed him. I gave them 2 weeks paid... Oh, I'm not at all worried about that. These are not the kind of men who get arrested. They're Martinez boys, tough and gritty. I'd like...
Despite his boastful tone, he's having doubts about something. Maybe he doesn't believe the boys really had it in them. They're his boys, after all.
That's very clever, Harry. Yes, they might have said it just to impress some girls or something. But Titus has a bad temper, so the chances are 50-50. How do I know? Let me tell you about these people. Last winter, some poor workers in Terminal E went on a little strike. The company sent in Sediment, a security contractor. The strike was over the workers... These guys turn up and start beating people. Tell you what, Harry, I wouldn't be surprised if we got the same mercenary company, after a little rebranding. You said it, Harry. Hell, one of those guys looks big enough to take down that proverbial elephant. Boys like that don't just happen to show up during strikes. Of course, you're always one step ahead of me, Harry. I'm no genius. I'm in this position because people like me. Tribunal? That sounds serious, Harry. We Union men should be shitting ourselves. I wish you hadn't told me that.
He's clearly happy about the tribunal.
You're right. You're right. My sleep isn't your concern. Tell me, Harry. Oh, Liz is a bright one. I paid for that law degree myself, thinking it'll probably turn her all fancy. But hell, Harry, she came back a firebrand socialist. Sometimes she scares me with her zeal. Oh, they are simply fine young men, all 7 of them. Exemplary Union members. Old Theo used to run them, but things really kicked into gear when Titus took the reins and named the group after himself. Harry, they're almost all of them great guys, born leaders. Work with them. Hell, interview them. But don't fight them. They really are just like you. Men who like beer, women, and some order on the streets. But of course, it's the least I can do for my good friend...
You can now go and tell Titus about...
Also, Harry, here's 5 real. I wasn't offering it to you, just holding it out there. But I'm willing to share information. Was there anything else? Was it a good talk? I'm not sure we made much headway here. I was hoping we'd bust the case wide open. Heck, I even wanted to tell you what I really want to achieve with the strike. I don't know what happened, Harry. I wanted you to feel like Mr. Martinez. And, of course, I also wanted you to find your gun. But it's like I can't completely... Yes, Harry. It's like I can't fully trust you if you're not a man of the left. I want to...
He's been hurt too much in the past by men who aren't social democrats.
You're saying it, but I don't believe you. You know how it is, company snitches, agent provocateurs everywhere. I'm barricaded in this fort. Once again, I require nothing unethical or illegal of you. You just need to get 2 little signatures on this piece of paper, and then mail it to my accountant in La Delta. I'm glad you asked, Harry. The Union is going to build a modern youth centre in Martinez. It will be right... There's a nameless little street on the coast with some old houses around it. Most people have already signed. I just need 2 more signatures to get this mission off the ground, Harry. They are just going to have to deal with the construction noise for 6 months, and then they'll be living like kings. Right next to a fancy new youth centre, designed by the best architects from Stella Marie. On the coast, Harry, across the canal. There's a cul-de-sac there, a little village there.
Water drips from the eaves. A woman looks at her freshly tarred skiff. There's a pair of cavalry boots under the fish in the box, and the wind...
You bring joy to my heart, Harry. You need to get signatures from Isabel Sadie and Lillian Carter. The cul-de-sac is right past the pawn shop and across the canal. I hear... Once you have the signatures... Mail this to 13022 La Rocca in La Delta. Then, I'll know you're a solid socialist. Most certainly, Harry. Nothing brightens my day. By all means, Harry, what's on your mind? My dear Harry, there are literally millions of containers in this harbour. I couldn't... Harry, you smooth-talking son of a bitch. Time is a precious resource.
Smooth talking. Maybe that's the way to go about opening the container.
See you soon, Debardeur. Just kidding, but not too much.
Before the cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened since you were last here. If anything, you attempt to turn that. very stuck in the traffic jam. This big, heavy Grad-made machine is well kept for such an old machine. The windows are clear. They've been recently washed. You can see a lorryman's cabin. The driver has adorned his space with a substantial collection of peculiar paraphernalia. Proclamations about the back end of the cabin as a small perch to sleep, large ashtrays. There are several suns and wheels sewn into the curtains.
Looks like the circus left town, but the clowns are still here. No. I's here. You got business with my boys. You got...
The boys are too eager to please him to keep them.
Yeah! You fuck with... Relax, then. Yeah,
Let Dennis enjoy his fucking, man.
Yeah.
Easy, Phil.
Too late. You already scanned the room. You got a pretty good picture of the actors here. You could take another look at the tracks in the mud on the crime scene. Compare it to these guys.
Oh, so you went and talked to my mommy, and now she's making me play with you.
And what's gonna happen if we don't? You gonna go and tell on us?
Well, snitches get stitches, and you don't have any stitches, although by the looks of it... The old man sent word you'd be around. That's the only reason I'm being so forthcoming with you. Don't wear it out. Again, just get the dead guy's autograph.
Good one, Titus.
Are you deaf? There will be no singling anyone out. You can't arrest A. Hardy. Do you think you could do that? Do you think you could arrest them all?
Who do you fucking think does?
It wasn't a question, dickwad. How fucking stupid are you?
This asshole is worse than... Titus runs the Hardy Boys, genius.
I think you got your answer.
Yes, there are some administrative differences. But on that night, they all acted as one man.
How many people have you sent to the Shays? Ever felt remorse for them?
Or send them to Reunion to rot. For 20 years. For life.
Doesn't remember them. He just...
Ain't no use keeping a stiff catalog in your head. That's for sure. About fucking time.
Establish authority. Yes. Authority. Feverish thoughts race through your mind. Did you already try the gun thing? I hear the gun thing is excellent and has great results. You're probably right. The others are only there for filler. to make the gun thing pop.
And what exactly is it you've been doing that's so goddamn special? Shitting yourself all the while talking racist shit. Don't think we aren't watching, fascia. People here trust us. We're getting complaints. Of course you have. You've been calling people Kip left and right, inciting race violence in my town.
Callie said they've been trying to set up a race rally, whatever the fuck that means. Trying to get the Kips out of Revachol before the economy goes to shit. Sure there is. Callie said they're bulk purchasing confetti. Ribbons too. And loudspeakers. And fireworks.
Get the fuck out of here, you racist car.
What's going on? Are you racist now? Is the rally real? Please don't set up any rally. It'll make you look awful. There is no rally, come on. Just ask questions. You need to put this race rally garbage in the rear view.
Oh, hello, dear. There you are again. Oh, yes. A zoologist. It's really just a subfield of zoology. Searching for such species called cryptids is difficult and often thankless. And frankly,
She's completely internalized her husband's struggles. They are her own. There's really no point in manipulating anyone. She'd be only too pleased to tell you about her work. Go on and ask.
Oh, I'd be delighted. Truth be told, I could really use the company too. That would be the Giant of Kokonur. The giant lives in the most arid parts of the vast Kokonur Desert in South Samara, casting a strange light across the barren wastes. A mirage or a psychogenous luminance. No one knows for sure. It is like an awful mountain appearing from below the horizon and expanding to cover almost a third of your field of vision. The towering luminosity of Kokonur is a bad omen in local folklore. That's what makes it so peculiar. A species surviving at the very limits of scientific law. The Giant of Kokonur must be the largest animal the planet can support. There are limits, you see, to how large a metabolism an ecosystem can beget.
Great. This is great shit. You need more.
Cryobacter catlensis. Yes, a unicellular bacterium that was discovered in one of the northernmost points of Kotla on the Boreal Plateau. The bacterial colony Mijanu found had remained alive while frozen in ice for longer than anyone could rely upon. Mijanu disappeared shortly after injecting herself with the bacteria she had brought back to study. No doubt in hopes of prolonging her own life. Yes, the bacteria had survived in the ice since times immemorial. It is not hard to see where she could have gotten the idea. Wild, yes. Impossible? No. Although, everything has a price, sweetie. After Mijanu treated herself with the bacteria, she stopped aging, but also became increasingly eccentric and irascible, so that even her oldest friends were forced to pull away. We can assume that she has been living somewhere in the wilderness for decades now, all alone except for the Cryobacter catlensis coursing through her bloodstream. The gnome of Jeroma. Oh, it is. None of his victims survived. Grieving relatives never even found their bodies because the gnome's venom dissolved organic tissue. It was reportedly a small creature with webbed fingers and a protruding forehead and a gangly little thing. Quite scary to look at. A couple of campers found it when it was already dying. They heard an odd wailing in the woods and followed the sound. It still took the gnome of Jeroma an entire day to die. Alas, no. And the first scientist who got his hands on the... Instead, all the venom leaked out of the creature's teeth and into the surrounding liquid, dissolving the creature itself. A poetic end, perhaps, but a real loss for science. Yes, it's the kind green ape. Half war story, half undiscovered species in the genus Homo. Yes, it was reported by soldiers in South Safra during the war. The kind green ape would visit bunkers during the night, healing wounded soldiers with its saliva. Yes, it has amazing healing qualities. Indeed, there is. It's our closest relative among the cryptids. Same taxonomic family, different genus. Which is to say, the kind green ape is a species with which we share a common ancestor and that evolved parallel to our own, just like your partners. I didn't mean to imply that Saolites are in any way inferior to us. In some ways, they are superior. Every species has it. The kind green ape, too, is in some ways superior to us. Such kindness as it is demonstrated is not granted. Kindness may not be an evolutionary advantage. What an interesting question. And the Col de Mama d'Aqua, or thin whisper of sound. And that's precisely what it seems to be. Self-replicating sound waves, invisible and intangible. It's like nothing. It's such a high-pitched sound that us humans can't hear it, nor can other animals. It could be ringing right outside your window and you wouldn't even know. Many scientists have asked the same question. Some have claimed that it isn't itself a sound, but a tiny corpuscle that emits sound waves. But there's no evidence to support plenty. It's the evidence that led to its discovery. In the 1920s, a group of Areopagite ornithologists, that is, scientists who study, when playing back recordings they had made in the foothills of the Ea mountain range, they noticed certain anomalies. Patterns that seemed random at first, but on closer examination were consistent with the waveforms of songbirds. The scientists soon discovered they could track and even predict what appeared to be feeding, mating, and migration patterns based on sound waves in a strictly delimited range of ultrasonic frequencies, even higher than those of the highest-pitched bat calls.
She transforms, when speaking about these strange animals, into a confident woman.
They realized that they had discovered a new species and called it the Col de Mama d'Aqua, after the Paracanassian name for the voice of God, which is said to be very silent. They grew quite obsessed with these little birds. Even though they couldn't see them, they could distinguish among individual birds and even began to name some of them. Sequester, Time, Joscan. Those are but some of the Mama d'Aqua they followed individually. That is a sad story. A group of university students assisting with the field work in their enthusiasm for the project, and no doubt because they were preoccupied with impressing their professors, nearly drove it to extinction. They tried to communicate with it and had no other means but sound. So they started sending out sound waves at frequencies
This lady really should be a teacher. She's really good at the explaining things thing.
Exactly. And these tests were performed so recklessly that when they
Great regret washes over her.
After that, the corpuscle appears to have migrated elsewhere. There have been recordings of anomalies similar to those spotted in Ea, but they've been few and far between. It's impossible to confirm the presence of any stable... What about what? I'm glad you like them, but I'm not really one to tell you about all of them. You should ask my husband if you get the chance.
This fan has it been consigned there as punishment? Oh no, it's happening again. You didn't catch it and now there's a number. You can take this. It's not nearly as bad as the last time. This isn't a real heart attack. You should probably just exercise more. It's the ledger you found in the trash. A cabbage of papers hanging from the board, with the permeables drawer inside. It's proving to be harder than expected. You just don't have the intellectual rigor to patch the quilt back together. Try again later. You take the legal documents out of the envelope. A 12 to 40 month construction period and the zoning. The youth center cuts into the ocean like the bow of some great modern ship. Apparently, it's going to cover most, if not all, of the street and the square between the existing houses. It's 3 stories tall. There is no loophole. The simple truth is, the current residents are going to lose their street access, and for the next 12 to 40 months, their lives will be dominated by constant construction noise right next door. Once the construction starts, it'll probably take a few months, a year maybe, for even the most stubborn occupants to get tired of living like this. After that, well, you could trick Everard. Get some random people to sign the document. By the time the union boss finds out, your business here will be already concluded. The face of King Freecell smiles at you. For some reason, the smile now strikes you as more forced than it did before. Unsurprisingly, much of this section is taken up with articles declaring unqualified support for the dock. You skim the headlines. Paint the harbor red and white. Martinez tames the wild pines. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer, G. Martin, accusing the owner of the Capeside Apartments of illegally attempting to evict certain communist tenants simply for not having paid their rent. The writer G. Martin remarks dryly that capitalists love wealth redistribution, so long as it's only redistributed upward. You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. The bed is still cold from the broken window, and not...
I've got nothing to say to you. Why are you wasting your time? I am being aggressive? Listen, you moral and unlucky. You are part of a mob, enforcing the unlawful privatization of Revachol. 20 fat men in the Occident are stealing it.
Fuck yeah.
So ask what you came to ask, or get back to your commanders. Look, a comedian. Do your job, ask your questions, then get out of Martinez.
Was that? Could it be the Col de Mama Dakwa? No, it's probably just your imagination ringing in your ear. There seems to be an extremely high-pitched ring. Ultrasonic. Lena said it was very high-pitched, right? It's like some... There it is again. You're about to rediscover a long-lost species. It must be very close. Maybe, just maybe, it will come toward you. What are you doing? You're a police officer, not a pansy ornithologist. The only birds you should be looking for are healthy women of childbearing age. Oh no. The sound. It's moving away. Somewhere over there. Go after it. No. Too late. It's gone. There is no ringing anymore. Just the sound of the streets. Keep your ears peeled, then. If the species really has migrated to Martinez, you're sure to hear it again. Call box with a matrix of push buttons lists all the companies in the East Delta Commerce Center. Whatever she says, it can't hurt you. You're a different person now. All right. Maybe not healthier, but it's a bonus that you've drunk so hard you can't remember any of your past relationships. Oblivion's the ace in your corner. There's a light buzz as you press the doorbell, waiting for her to answer the call. It's cold outside, and you can... A strange metallic taste fills your mouth as you stare at the intercom.
Yes, hello. This is Tricentennial Electric. Have you come to place an order? My God.
Here come the bad vibes again. Relax. Distance yourself from it.
It's you. My God. I didn't think I would hear your voice again.
Wait. Is she...
Michelle, just please. Why did you even call? I don't understand. You've been gone for months.
The voice from the intercom doesn't answer, but you can hear her breathing. Your hands are getting cold, and your breathing becomes visible, forming small silvery puffs in the air.
Ever since I came to work here, it's as if my mind's been wiped clean. It's so nice. It's so nice to be able to finally forget about you.
And then it hits you. She tries again not to cry, and still doesn't succeed completely. Her quiet sobs sound old and distant, as if, real or not, your mirror neurons react. It feels painful to be listening to this. Anger boils up in your chest. Her sound melts into the static from a long-distance phone call. From time to time, you can hear people. This is where you hung up the call the last time, but the recording is still going. A phone rings in the office with an old-fashioned chime, and someone walks by in a pair of heels. The static is like a warm blanket wrapped around the sounds. No one replies, but the static grows stronger like rainfall. Then a female voice speaks out, completely different.
For 300 years I have been here, volatile and luminous, made of sodium and rain. If you want me, you can find me on the beach. Donazernebal.
The strange and alien thought pattern ends. You're left staring at the electronic doorbell.
You missed a good show before. A kid came by and completely
He fucked the tree up! Fucked it good! It was porno!
Shoot that shit at Kuno, Pigonort. The fuck do you want with it? That's where Kuno gets his daily hit of electric. Kuno Shazam. Kuno rides the fucking lightning in there, pig.
Bet you'd like to ride the lightning too, wouldn't you? You feel tired and old.
It's a vitamin, pig. Don't you know anything? Okay, whatever. You fucking need that shit to stay on top of your game. Kuno goes through like a tube a day, and...
Oh, don't teach him, Kuno! He's gonna use it against you, Kuno!
You're not getting this, pig. It completely takes away the hangover. It's like you didn't do anything. Like you stayed home playing with your choo-choo.
Fuck you, pig! Don't do mag! You're gonna OD and you're gonna fucking die!
Good call, Pigmeister. Don't come and talk to Kuno about his kingdom. Kuno doesn't...
There are several sitting at a desk. There are several footprints in the mud. Sitting at a desk, Lieutenant Kitsuragi fiddles with a pen, then writes something on.
Oh, look. It's the cop who turned me into a bad person.
Ease into it. Don't go too far. This seems like a personal matter.
Man, nothing's troubling me. Just the usual Lorriman tropes and hopes. The road and the rhymes.
That all the beans you got, Tony? Damn.
Right to work! Right to work! Shame on you!
The woman is still hunched over the railing, her head swaying to the music, her eye...
Huh? What is it? What do you want?
An old monument stands in the middle of the traffic island.
Hello again, sir. Oh, that's Auntie Billy. She's nice if a bit distressed. No, no, sir. She's a working woman who comes to look at the books a lot. I think she is a bad husband. Not very nice or helpful.
I know you are.
Vigilance officer, what can this old carabinier do for you? Yes, I'm an old...
He feels like he has to justify himself for some reason.
She? The lady? Yes, it does. Unfortunately, I wasn't working that night. Been on a 2-week leave since last month. It's a private matter.
You see, officer, René is the kind of man who'd rather die than admit he needs...
I'm fine, goddammit. Mind your own business.
It's his heart.
No one. The boss... Yes.
Look, officer, the container yard doesn't actually need...
The possibility.
Evrard created this job for René because he knows the Royal Carabiniers' pension of honor and PTSD isn't something a man can live off. A decorated Kingsman collecting tear reflects bad on the whole neighborhood. His words.
Look, officer, can we conclude the topic of my guard boost now? Yes, like I said, it would be...
What's this? We're getting reports of normal, reasonable, temperate, political opinions somewhere in Martinaise. It's also about that, but it's also more. It's time to become a citizen of the Kingdom of Conscience. It is not a place. It is a moment in time that can only arise in the right circumstances. In all of human history, it's only been achieved a handful of times. Incrementally. Yawn. You'd get there faster with a little speed. History's greatest catastrophes have been brought about by people trying to make the world a better place. Too quickly. That's the genius of Dolores Day. She recognized that progress is meaningless if its gains are lost because of instability. Real, lasting change can only come about gradually. Tisk tisk, just because you live in the present doesn't mean you have the right to place your needs above the needs of the future. You may never live to see the Kingdom of Conscience. Your children may not. What benevolence. What a fucking joke. Do you believe the status quo is preferable to chaos and bloodshed? Then you've never lived through real chaos. Sometimes, in the face of great disaster, defending the status quo is progress. The kingdom is difficult to comprehend, and even more difficult to describe, partly because humanity will need to discard many of the categories that define and limit it today. It's also post-industrial, post-ideological, and even post-sexual. Slow down, Mr. Reasonable. Did you miss the part about That's right. Remember, real democracy is just around the corner for Revachol. When that real democracy kicks in, a long time from a crumpled billboard reading, Samaran butter soaks in the canal. Two ugly lines mar the bright countenance of the blue. Whatever it is, the boy on the billboard seems very... A rusting control. This panel usually closes.